look, to the extent there's anyone out there, West Coast, who had to get up early to hear what we have to say about the 49ers after the latest loss of a lost season, let's just listen very briefly to Kyle Shanahan, head coach of the team, on the struggles of the 2024 season after getting almost to the top of the mountain last year.
We're going through this. By no means are we happy with what we're going through, but I fully expect us to get better for going through this. I mean, even if it could have gone worse today, I expect us to learn a lot here going through this stuff, and I expect it to make us a better team next year. And when the season is over, I can't wait to get started figuring out how to do that.
Yeah, but here's the question. One of the things they're going to start doing to figure out next year who's going to be there and who isn't. So for some of these guys, the lessons learned of 2024 are going to be meaningless next year. And that's true of every NFL team. There's a certain amount of turnover every year, but it just feels like something is ending for the 49ers. Whatever might be beginning could be even better, but it feels like the train's pulling into the station for this team that has been largely consistent for the past several years. Very different from 2019 to even 2023. We went over that last year's Super Bowl. There weren't many starters, like 4 between the two teams, Chiefs, 49ers, only 4 years later. But still, that nucleus of the 49ers the past several seasons, it feels like there's going to be change in personnel, not just approach, not just luck, not just game planning, but you're going to have different players next year.
Yeah, the one thing that's guaranteed in the NFL is change. And when you lose, there's a lot of change coming. And, I think that's the thing for John Lynch in the front office of you get these kind of core group of guys that you have in that locker room. And each year you come into the season and you're like, we could win the Super Bowl. We can win the Super Bowl. And you try to keep that group together as best you can, understanding that you can't keep everybody, but you try to keep it running. And, I obviously got that opportunity in New England, which was a hell of a run of every year coming in and feeling like you could win. And it's depressing when you kind of get that feeling of this thing's not going to last. All right, we're getting to the end, and you see 1 or 2 guys leave. The next thing you know, you look around in the locker room and you're like, man, there's only 3 or 4 of us remaining that went to, whatever, back-to-back Super Bowls or all these AFC titles. You look around and it's starting to feel like San Francisco's getting to that point of, okay, who's the guys that we see taking us into the future, even if it's not maybe next year being back exactly where we want, but trying to identify which players are going to be a part of this new core going forward. And I know it's only 1 year, and you're only 1 year removed from being in the big game, but the job of the front office is to project what the future looks like, not just stay in that moment of trying to decide, okay, who are the guys in this locker room that, all right, we've gotten all we're going to get as a 49er standpoint, and who we need to move on from. So some really tough decisions coming for the 49ers of how to be more consistent of, all right, we get to that big game, whether we win or lose, we don't want to have a letdown like this where we don't make the playoffs. We want to give ourselves another shot, and I think that's what they're trying to do going into the offseason.
We got to take a break to stay on schedule because we've got Kevin O'Connell coming up in about an hour. But I do want to say this because it was entering the 2023 season that George Kittle, the 49ers star tight end, said, we understand that the window may be closing on the older players. And he's one of the ones that I'm keeping an eye on because I wonder, will the projection be it's time to move on? He popped last night anytime he had the ball in his hands. And I think the message is simple. I can still play, and don't try to come with me in the offseason and get me to take less to still be here, because if you want to cut me, I still got it. And one of these other contenders out there, like maybe the Lions, will want me. So that's going to be an interesting wrinkle this offseason as well. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.